questions? Okay, Grand Rising, everyone. It's Ron. Saturday, March 28th, 2026, a little after 10 a.m. See if we have any questions. Uh, I know on Monday we talked a lot about consciousness and other things as well, but uh, Pastor talked about the consciousness of the universe being the cosmic mother. Then he talked about the difference between overt and covert consciousness, and I think he was going to pick that up and talk about that a little bit more today. But while we wait for him, are there any other questions anyone may have?
Can we go over what overt and covert is consciousness once again? Just like a brief?
uh, I would rather not do it. I would rather he do it or one of you
Okay.
guys do it. But I just wrote down overt is something that comes from your mind, is what he said. And I kind of looked it up and looked at some things too. Overt meaning uh, those things that are openly done that you see. Covert means those things that are covered over. Uh,
In
uh,
secret.
yeah, in secret.
Okay.
Not necessarily secret, but and I don't want to go into uh what I read because that may be totally different than what he's going to take us. Because I think what I read, because when he talked about it last week, I understood and I didn't understand it. So I looked it up. And what I found is probably more uh, scientific than it is spiritual.
Right.
So,
Okay. I can wait.
yeah, I'd rather he go into it.
Okay.
Ron, this is Evelyn. I yield.
Go ahead, Evelyn.
Thank you, Pastor Jay. Grand Rising family, and we do give honor to the ancestors. Are we now in the new earth, the new heaven and the new earth, or does it depends on the individual? Because I know it's spiritual, and yeah, I'll leave it right there. That's my question.
I want you to hold that, Evelyn. Okay?
Yes, sir. And I know you have a reason for it.
I do
Thank
indeed.
you.
I do indeed. I heard from you raising the question as I was getting on about consciousness.
Mhm.
I'm going to look at that as well. However, I have to do this a little differently today because I have a message. Last night at midnight exactly, I sat straight up in the bed and was compelled to write. And what I wrote involves us as well as consciousness and several other things. Um, there are several different things that I have been shown involving us in this journey for the next sessions. I'm going to be talking about those things, and I know that they are foundational and as well as pivotal for the journey that we're on. We've always talked about for quite some time understanding who we are. Well, as I was receiving the message on last evening, or actually early this morning, and as I wrote, I was shown in fairly given a detailed message as to who we are. And The reason I say this would probably be a bit different than it normally is because I want to go through the message first. And then, well, it's not so much that I want to. I was told to go through the message first and then come back and do it in sections so you can raise your questions. However, once I start, I would appreciate it if you would make note of any of your questions in a physical way, or if you think you can remember them, that's fine. But I will be going over it again after I go straight through it, okay? When I was shown who are we, the left brain is masculine. The right side of the brain is feminine. However, the right side of the brain can also use the left side of the brain. At the center of the brain is the pineal gland. You are the pineal gland. You are, or actually the pineal gland is your home. You exist inside of the pineal gland. Why is that said? The reason that you exist in the pineal gland is because you are not your body. You are not anything physical. You're not even the pineal gland itself. You live in the pineal gland. The light, the energy that's in the pineal gland is you. If you can envision the two hemispheres of the brain, looking at them from the top, from above them, and right in the center, you see this round dot, the pineal gland. And that dot, and you live in between the two. The nervous system is the electrical wiring for your body. The nervous system carries messages from the body, from the outside world, to the brain, and the response to the message depends on whether or not you're going to respond to the outside stimuli or the light of the pineal gland. When the light of the pineal gland is used, when you are used to respond, then the response is spiritual. Therefore, the consciousness of the light, the consciousness of the covert consciousness, the light of the covert consciousness is guiding, it's guiding force of your life. It is your response to outside stimuli. This means that you are the one who is responding. When the response has its origin in the stimuli, which is the outside world, the nervous system is responding, and it is responding from your natural mind. The base of the pineal gland receives a message from the outside. The response is you choosing between good and evil. The right and left hemisphere of your brain is the space where good and evil is. The base of the pineal gland rather is where the energy of good and evil lives, and the crown is where life is. Whether the response is good or evil, right or wrong, you are the one who makes the response. What I mean by you, the good and evil being at the base of the pineal gland, is that when the kundalini, or the fluid that rises in the spine, when it rises to the base of the pineal gland, that is the point where you make a decision whether or not you're going to respond to the external stimuli or whether you're going to respond based upon the light that you are. How does that work? Your nervous system is the electrical wiring for your body just like the electrical wiring in the house brings the light to your house. So when the message leaves the exterior world and stimulates the nerve endings, the message goes to the base of the brain. And at that juncture, that is where you make a decision as to whether or not you're going to respond based upon what you have learned from the outside world, your education, your experiences, etc. When you respond based upon spirituality, it is you who is doing the responding, because you are that light that lives inside of that pineal gland. You are that light that responds spiritually. If you continue to choose the outside stimuli, if you choose the outside influence continuously, then what you are actually doing is continuing to train your nervous system to ignore the message, that still small voice, that tells you that something is not right. That is you. That is you making. That is you speaking to your nervous system to respond. So when your nervous system responds, that means that your body carries out an act that prevents you from making that error or making that mistake. When you listen to that still small voice, you are actually talking to the body that carries you. Now, so the nervous system is something totally different than what we think it is. The circulatory system is the channel through which the body receives its nourishment. It is the pineal gland. It is the light. It is the life itself that keeps the blood flowing. In other words, the energy from the pineal gland is what stimulates the heart, that keeps the blood flowing. We call this the involuntary nervous system, or we call it the auto nervous system. The involuntary nervous system functions based upon what signals it gets from the pineal gland. If you refuse to obey the messages that your body's getting from the pineal gland, and you continue to function based on good and evil, meaning your nervous system and the stimuli that you're receiving from the outside, then your body begins to damage itself, because the nervous system is obeying the outside stimuli as opposed to obeying you. And you have trained it to do that based upon the education and environmental conditions that you were brought up in. You are the one who makes that decision. That determines whether you get angry when somebody speaks to you. That determines whether you receive it as a joke. Somebody can call you stupid. If you're close to them, it doesn't bother you. If someone calls you stupid who is not close to you, you get upset. When you respond to the one that does not bother you, then what you're actually responding is you are doing the responding based upon mayat. But the response that you give based upon the material world is a response that is adversarial to who you actually are. And that is the reason you get angry. If you go into a fit of rage, you have not allowed the stimuli that brought that rage to you. You have not allowed it to be processed by you. You have allowed it to process itself by your mind, by the outside stimuli that brought that to you, that ended up being rage. However, if you process it, you are the light. So what you actually do when you process it, you protect your peace and you don't go into a rage. You are guided as to how to respond to it as opposed to react. You never react when you are responding based upon the light that you are. You react when you're responding based upon the external stimuli, because the external stimuli is reactionary. And the pineal gland, which is the sun, which is light, it is the source that houses the son of light, which you are, the builder of everything that is. When we look at the scriptures and we look at son, son, what we actually see is builder. We don't see it as being expressed as totally masculine. It is a builder. So the light is the builder of everything that is. It is the source of everything that is. The light of the sun is the light of the source. You will never and never shall be without the presence of the source, because you are the offspring of the source. You are the light that is housed in the pineal gland. And this is the reason the Europeans stole the sacred writings and hid them in the Vatican. Why? Because you were what I am sharing with you, you will find in the Vatican. And what they have done, they have taken the understanding of your nervous system and the understanding of your circulatory system, and they have made them physical things that take care of your body. And we have talked about not being our body, and we think that we are breath. We are not breath. We are not spirit. We are the origin of breath and the origin of spirit, because we do not have to breathe in order for us to live. Breath and spirit has absolutely nothing to do with our life, because we are the life. We are the life that's in the pineal gland, and light does not need air in order to live. Light does not need breath to live. Light does not need spirit to live. The ones who need spirit to live, who need oxygen, who need breath to live, are the ones who came from the womb of the Babylonian woman. And those who came from that womb are the ones who need breath to keep the bodies alive. And we are the one who keeps them alive, because the melanin in our skin is a source of light. It is the technology that responds to the words that we speak. It is the technology that responds to the needs of everything that is created. And when that melanin responds to everything that was created, it is from the melanin that life infuses everything that lives. Even those who are contrary to what Mayat is, those who are contrary to humanity, they are also receiving their life from those who are melanated. And how do they receive the messages that we put into the macro? Everyone has a pineal gland, but no one has a pineal gland that is large as the pineal gland of the Acabelonian, and no one has a pineal gland that is as filled with light as the light in the Acabelonian, and no one's pineal gland, the light in your pineal gland is who you are, and no one else is connected to the source except you. And you are the source of those who are in the earth. So when we talk about having received from the pineal gland, from the macro rather, when we talk about their resonance, what happens is the words that we speak of truth stimulates the nervous system of those who are receiving it, and the light travels to the crown. And you make that decision whether or not you're going to embrace, whether you're not going, what we receive or accept what is resonating with you. And if you choose not to, then you fall right into the space of religion. And religion was brought into existence to blind us to who we are. If we were to look at the things in the Vatican, and if we were to see the true nature of who we are, what we would see is that we have never been a body, and religion teaches us that we are a body. However, the scripture tells us, know you not that ye are the temple of the Holy Ghost, meaning that the spirit lives in the light, but the spirit is not the light. The spirit is the source of life for the body that carries the light around. And the light that we put into the macro it travels to up the nervous system, and those who are in search of change, those who are in search of something new, something better, something different, they are open to allowing the light in that they are to process what is being heard by them. They are not they are not the light as we are, but because they came from the womb of the Babylonian woman, the method of communication with people, with the human who lives in that body, the communication comes directly from us, from the pineal gland, from the light that's in the pineal gland. So we are obligated to make sure that religion uh, no longer influences or guides our humanity. The scripture says that if your eye is light, your whole body is light. But if your eye is dark, your whole body is dark. What is it saying? If you are the light, you are aware of who you are. And because you are aware of who you are, enlightenment fills every crevice of your body. And if you are not aware of who you are, then you travel in chaos, you travel in darkness, and your body responds like the same way. So when somebody calls you a nigger, your body responds but with anger. But if your eye is light, if you're aware of the light that you are, then if someone calls you that, you understand their ignorance, because you understand that they are not aware of who created them. They're not aware of the life that sustains them. They are simply functioning out of ignorance, and they are functioning from good and evil as opposed to from the light. That space between the crown and the kundalini that travels up and down the spine. That space between that is where the decision is made, whether or not you are going to continue to embrace religion and live a life of ignorance as to who you are, live a life of pain, suffering as to who you are, being upset about things that you can change if you were to embrace the reality of your essence and no longer see yourself as being spirit, no longer seeing yourself as being air, but understanding that you are the light from which the air originates. You are the light from which the breath originates, that feeds the body. That continues to pick up the stimuli from the exterior so you can protect the body and stay in this earth. And the circulatory system continues to feed your body. And when we embrace totality, the totality of the light that we are, then we are more able to transform the poison in the foods into something that is nutritious, because we are the creators of everything that is. And no matter what is created, we have the power, we have the authority to transform it into something of life as opposed to something of death. Are you with me so far? And I know I'm saying a lot.
Yes, sir.
Being the light. Being the light that's housed in the pineal gland is what makes you, quote unquote, God, is what makes you Elohim, what makes you Akabalon. The garden of life, you are the garden of life. It's the light that nourishes the body. That is the light that gives life to everything. You are the garden itself. And in that garden is what? What's in that garden? Femininity and masculinity. What's in that garden? The tree of life, the tree of life, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. That's who you are. And the pineal gland, we have been lied to. The pineal gland is not calcified. I want that to sink in. It is not calcified. There is absolutely nothing that can build a boundary around you. You being God, you being a Kabbalon, it doesn't matter whether it's fluoride, it doesn't matter what it is. It cannot imprison you. You are that light. It cannot imprison you. The only house that you live in is the pineal gland. You are not calcified. You are free to move as you choose to move and to process as you choose to process. It does not matter what science has told you. It does not matter what they have done. It's created something called fluoride and other things that they have told you. They, meaning the Europeans, have and the religious folks have told you that your pineal gland is calcified, so that you will struggle to embrace the reality that that is the light of all lights that is within you, and you are it and it is you, which means that you are never separated from the source, because the light that lives in that pineal gland is the same light that brought you into existence. It is the same it is the same wisdom that brought you into existence, and it can never be separated from its source. Just like those who are walking around in these physical bodies, who are looking at us like we are nothing and treating us like we are nobody, based upon the exterior that they see, they can never ever escape the need to receive life from us. They can never live on their own. They can never live without their creator. And we are that creator. These things that I have been shown, I am to tell you that we are the light that's in that. Why? Because now is the time for us to embrace who we are or not. Now is the time to see clearly that we are more than breath, that we are more than body. We are light. We are the embodiment of life itself. When we talk about being God, I said that the right side of the brain is feminine, the left side is masculine. However, the left side of the brain, the right side of the brain can function with the left side as well as the right side, but the left side does not. And when we talk about this idea of the hemisphere of the brain, what we are actually talking about is the land of milk and honey, and the fluid that flows between the two hemispheres of the brain is the honey, and the positive charges is the left side of the brain, the negative is the right side. This has nothing to do with negativity, but it has everything to do with energy sources. And the energy sources of life are housed there in the milk, housed there rather in the pineal gland. And when we talk about the honey, we are talking about the sacred fluid that flows throughout the body. We are talking about not only the water that's in the body, but any fluid that flows through the body is sacred. Why is it sacred? Because the fluids in the body has an impact on the body. However, the fluid, the light that's in the pineal gland is you. Therefore, it does not have an impact on the body like the other fluids in the body would have. The other fluids in the body have an impact on the body in order to help you adjust to the external stimuli. For example, there are fluids that are released in your body. There are hormones released in your body based upon whether you are embracing your mama, your daddy, or your special other, or your child. All of these hormones that are released in the body are to help you to function in this physical world. The pineal gland is totally different, and that's why it is set between the hemisphere, and that's why it functions at that space of crown, meaning that there is only one connection. The scripture says that seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all other things will be added unto you. This is talking about seeking who you are, seeking to be the crown that you are, seeking to be the kingdom that you are, seeking to be the ruler that you are, seeking to be Mayat. When it talks about righteousness, it's talking about Mayat, seeking to be the essence of who you were created to be. And then you will become aware of all the other things that is necessary for you to function in this earth and be the creator, be a Kabbalon, be the garden of life, be the essence of everything that is, and understand that nothing can damage you, nothing can imprison you, because you are you are the light, and the house that has been constructed for the light is the pineal gland. And please understand this: when you leave this earth, when you die, death is not anything that we think it is. Death is simply you leaving the pineal gland, leaving your house. When the light joins with the source of all light and ceases to seek to live in the pineal gland, it leaves the body, and it is not dead. And the body keeps the pineal gland, but the pineal gland no longer has the light that lived in it. Therefore, the house that you once lived in is now vacant. And because it is vacant, it cannot breathe anymore. Because it is vacant, the heart cannot beat anymore. Because it is vacant, external stimuli cannot influence it anymore. Because it is the house is vacant, no one can do harm to you anymore. Because it is vacant, you don't have to concern yourself with what's right or wrong, what's good or bad, what's evil, what's ripe or unripe, because you are life itself. And as long as we struggle with this, we will always struggle in the garden. The moment that we are able to embrace the light essence of who we are, it is at that moment that we no longer struggle in the garden. The enmity that is between the masculinity and femininity, that enmity is the battle between authorities. And because the light that left us to create others in this earth, the masculinity, the choice that was made by Europeans was to choose masculinity. And choosing the masculinity, that created the enmity between masculine and feminine. What are you saying? What I am saying is this: the masculinity and the femininity are at odds because we allowed ourselves to buy into a masculine world. And buying into a masculine world, that created the enmity, and that is expressed by the way that we respond to the manifestation of femininity, and that is females. The way we respond to them it determines whether or not we are at enmity with femininity. And as long as we are at odds with femininity, the world will be in a state of chaos. Now that we are able to see what it looks like when there is enmity between the male and female, we are now able to enter the garden in a different way, meaning that the recognition, the awareness of who we are grants us the opportunity to bring balance, to bring solace, to bring peace to the earth. And the peace and balance in the earth is nothing more than masculinity and femininity embracing each other and functioning as one without external stimuli. Only recognizing what's in the exterior as necessary for the physical bodies to live in this earth. That is what is meant when it says that we are in this world, but we are not of this world. We are in this world. The light is in this world, but the light did not have its origin in this world. The only ones who walk around in a body that has its origin in this world are those who came from the womb of the Kabbalonian woman. We are in this world, but what has taken place is we are so caught up with the things that our eyes see until we are blind to what our eye is trying to show us. When we get to the place where we are no longer materialistic, where we are not guided by the things that we see, where we're not upset because of what we hear or see people doing to each other or to even us, when we get to that place, we understand then who we actually are. It doesn't matter what afflictions that attacks the body. It doesn't matter what is inflicted upon you. It doesn't matter, because the you cannot be damaged, and you are able to determine the direction of your life and the health of your body by virtue of being the physician that heals itself. Healing itself is not just a physical healing, it is also healing you from the blindness that we have lived in throughout our lives. It is also healing you from the disease of the external stimuli that angers us, that creates health issues for the body that we live in. Are there any questions or comments? I know I said a lot.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Does the soul reside in the pineal gland?
You are the soul. You are it. The consciousness of both of them. The consciousness of the pineal gland is the internal consciousness. It is the consciousness that has woven within it the consciousness, the understanding and the essence of ancestry. All of that is interwoven in it. Everything that you are, what we used to call spiritual, everything that God is, everything that a Kabbalon is in the fluid, is in the light in that pineal gland. That's who you are. You are all of that wrapped into one. There is no way to separate it. We can separate it with our minds. We can separate it by talking about it, but it cannot be separated. I don't give a rat's ass about what science says. It does not matter who told you what. The truth of the matter is that you are the essence of what exists in the pineal gland. You are that light. You are not the fluid. You are the light that's in that pineal gland. So anything that you have questions about, the essence of who you are as a divine entity is in that pineal gland. And you say, but it's so small. But big things come from small places. Understand this, that if you can see that ball of light in the center of your brain and you see that that's who you are the one who's steering this ship that's called the body in this world that's called Earth. Is that clear, or do you need more understanding of that?
To that I say, Arshay. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
It resonated very strongly with me when you said, with every decision we make, we train our nervous system to pay attention to the external material or the spiritual reality. And in that balance, or in that sort of moment of decision, is that determines the quote unquote good or evil, which basically determines whether you sink further into the illusion or you learn to free yourself from it in the direction of spiritual awareness, in the direction of enlightenment. And just to add something about the pineal gland, it's like you could think of it a little bit maybe like a window through which the light shines. And however we are able to allow more of that light to shine through, essentially, is the degree to which we are able to draw the true nature of the self into this physical material experience. Thank you.
No, thank you. I'm not going to talk about, I know I've said a lot, I'm not going to talk about melanin today, but melanin is not what you think it is. Melanin is nothing that we read in books. Melanin is everything that came from the case of consciousness. Melanin is everything that the ancestors guided me towards last night. And you will see the picture of melanin, and you will see the power of melanin. You will understand the authority of melanin, and you will understand the reason that everything about you is divine. You would the understanding of melanin would teach that to you, well, remind you of it rather. The other thing is that the primordial waters of noon, the waters that is mentioned in every creation story that has ever been told, has its origin from the waters of noon. The waters of noon is not water at all. The waters of noon are the sacred fluids that flow through your body. The waters of noon is filled with the potential, meaning that all the fluids in your body has potentiality. The fluids in your body has the potential to make you happy or to make you sad. The fluids in your body has the potential to prevent a heart attack or to cause a heart attack. The fluids in your body has all kinds of potential to keep your body healthy, safe, or for your body to deteriorate. Also, the fluid that's in the light in the pineal gland is the potentiality for creation of anything that you desire to create. Everything that we use for comfort in this earth today, the reason we are the ones that created everything is because the sacred fluids that the light is that baptized in, those sacred fluids that are in that pineal gland that lives in the house of the pineal gland, those sacred fluids are the fluids that is filled with the potentiality for creation, which is not invention, it is creation, because creation is bringing something from no thing. And I'm not saying nothing, it brings something from no thing. The potential is no thing. To bring potential to fruition, it makes it a thing. And that it is no different than the locomotive engine. The locomotive engine, the potential for it has always been there. But to bring that locomotive energy into manifestation, it is the potential creating something, just like we created everything else. There is no way that anyone else can invent or create anything because they are not a creator. They were created by the creator as we were brought into existence by the one who brought us into existence. We were not created the way anyone else was created. We were not brought into existence like that. That was no hand that brought us into existence. It was a spoken word, say be, and here we are. We were not molded at all. We are the molders of the bodies. We are the fluidity of the light. The fluidity of the light that bathes everything that is, whether it is a plant or a rock, a cat or a dog. We are that. And the essence of that is intertwined with the dark matter, which is the melanin that not only is in our body, but permeates the universe. And because of that melanin, we are the universe and the universes are. And it has a profound impact upon everything in this earth that we will talk about at maybe tomorrow at a later time. Questions, comments?
Wow. So I'm processing. So light has its own resonance as well. Everything has a resonance and a vibration. And all of the fluid, all of the sacred fluid can respond to the vibration, does respond to the vibration of the light. Just like science will show you that water and sand and whatever can respond in various ways to various frequencies. Our sacred fluid responds to the frequency of light. And just like science will tell you that quantum physics or something like that has to do with the potential in everything. And that potential of whatever we're looking at does not collapse into a form until we pay attention to it. What you're saying is that if we understand who we are, that we are the very essence of light, that we can collapse into form that which is beneficial for humankind by paying attention to that, which is creation in itself. It's using those sacred fluids to resonate and create and at some point collapse into form what we desire.
Those sacred fluids has its origin from us. And yes, we are the reason they collapse into form. We are, when we talk about something that resonates, we make a choice whether it's not going to resonate. If you are listening because you are trying to learn something as opposed to becoming aware of who you are, then there is much that will not resonate with you because you have made a decision to base everything that is said on academia as opposed to a reminder of who you are. When you make a decision that you're going to embrace everything that is spiritual, now you have made a decision for resonance. And when the truth of spirituality, spiritual essence is spoken, that's the vibration of resonance that you have chosen to embrace. That resonance is the thing that keeps us in a space of unicity, which means that drop of light, if you please, that we call us, that is us rather, and the drop of light that's in you, Barbara, that causes you to be who you are. All of these lights are connected together. All of these drops are one. And that is what is meant, one yet many. It is not a separation at all. And yes, the resonance, we determine that, but you determine whether or not you're going to accept it. And the vibration that you spoke of the fluids in the body, are the determining factors in how we respond emotionally as well as physically. And based upon whether or not we have made a decision to be who we are, which means we are the light in the house of the pineal gland. When we have made that decision, it is then that we are able to emit a resonance that heals bodies, that heals souls, that brings us from this space that we call shadow work to a place of enlightenment. As long as you are engaged in shadow work over and over and over again and never releasing it because you have become so comfortable with it, you have made that's who you are, then you don't know what it feels like. And you will never know what it feels like until you make a conscious decision that you are going to embrace the essence of who you are. And you cannot say it is hard. It is not hard. You make it hard because you don't want to do it. You can dress it up all you want. You can say, I'm so steeped in religion. You can say, I'm so steeped in academia. You can say anything you want. But whatever you make up your mind to do, you can do it. So don't tell me that it's too hard for you to do, because if it's too hard for you to do, then you can never be aware that you are God, that you are a Kabbalah, because there is absolutely nothing too hard for a Kabbalah. If you truly believe that you are a Kabbalah, there is nothing truly too hard for you to accomplish. You are everything that you desire to accomplish. So people who are caught up always, someone is doing something to them. People who are caught up, always in shadow work. They are holding on to something that's familiar to them, as opposed to embracing something that is not new to them, but is familiar to the point where it was before they was in these bodies. It is in existence, as is the mindset of Hakupata. The mindset of Hakupata is the essence of who we are. And all of these things that we are talking about are intertwined together, and they are what makes us who we are, even though we are not an us, we are I am. When I say I am, I'm not talking about the individual light that's in me. When I say I am talking about the light of all lights, which means that it is the light that's in your pineal gland, that's in the pineal gland, that's in your body. We are that. And the your body means that this body is subject to you, which is the light in the pineal gland. So your body is subject to the light. And if you do not allow your body to be subject to the light, then you are going to be subject to your body. And what you have done is lowered yourself beneath the status of angels. You have lowered yourself beneath the message, and the message is who you are. So when you lower yourself beneath the status of angels, what you have done is chosen for the messenger for you to be your brain stimulated by the external energy in this earth, as opposed to you being the message itself, embracing who you are, being the light, and subjecting your body to the guidance of you, as opposed to you being guided by your body. Is that clear? Can you see that?
Yes.
We are at a crucial place. We are at a make or break place. We are in a space that was designated for us from the beginning of the earth. How we function in this space is up to us. It does not matter what goes on around us. It does not change who we are. If it changes who we are, then we have not yet found out who we are. We have not yet become aware of who we are. Yes, you can have interludes with dark spaces like shadow work. You can have interludes with them, but you can't live there. Wherever you live, that's where you are. Is that clear?
Yes.
I'm
Yes,
not
sir.
asking if it's clear rhetorically at all.
Yes.
Yes.
And again, I know that a lot has been said, but I'm not talking to your ears. I'm talking to your soul. I'm making your soul aware of who it is. And if you're wrestling with it because you want to believe it, but you don't, if you're wrestling with it because you cannot process it academically, let it go. Because you will not process this academically. You will not find this written in any book, any place. This came to me last night. This message, I saw it. I saw it just as clear as I see myself in a mirror. And then it said, write. And when I wrote notes. And when I began to read the notes, there was an addendum added to that, and understanding that I did not even have and probably cannot reproduce in the same way that it was presented. But I do know for a fact, I know for a truth that this is who we are, and these are the words of the one who brought everything into existence. Let me tell you this is beyond the ancestors. I am not getting a message from the ancestors for you. This message is coming from the source. And the source is saying, embrace it, because if you don't embrace it, then you will be returning to your vomit, and you will be sickened by it spiritually. This is the day for you to make a choice of who you're going to be, what you're going to embrace, because I promise you, whether you can see it or not, you have gotten a clearer picture of what you look like, of who you are, than you have ever had in your life. You are not spirit. You are not air. You do not roam around aimlessly. You are light, and light and air are different. And the reason that you cannot reproduce water is because water is a carrier of spirit, a carrier of air. And that is the reason you cannot reproduce it. You can't create water because water has been created by us. The water was created by the one who lives in the pineal gland, and it was created for the express purpose of bringing life to everything that lives, bringing life to everything that's in this earth. And that which we have created cannot be reproduced, and that is why you can't make a baby in a test tube. That is why you are unable to make a rock. That is why you are unable to make a tree. You can damage it, you can splice it, you can do anything you want to do, but you cannot create it, because that which is created cannot be altered. It can be damaged but not altered. You cannot change a tree into a rock or a rock into a cat. We are who we are. We are the only creators in this earth. And the reason we were told to dominate is because you must govern what you bring into existence. The reason that we are tasked to bring order to this earth is because we are the one who brought it into existence. And bringing it into existence, there are those who have chosen the mindset of good and evil, and has impressed us with it, influenced us with good and evil. And that's why we vacillate so much. And that's why we make excuses as to why we can't do spiritual things or why we can't do enlightened things. That's why we make excuses about not being able to understand, because we're trying to understand with our brain as opposed to standing under the truth of what's being said, so it can shower us or baptize us in its essence, so that we can have we can embrace it, begin to live it, and when the need is there, it comes from our mouth, because it is the mouth from that the words come from, the breath comes from, and the vibration that makes the words is the same vibration that speaks to the nerve endings of individuals in this earth, and that vibration travels through the nervous system until it gets to that space of crown, and that choice is made. And there are those who see glimpses of it, and then you hear them talking about we are divine, and those who never thought about being divine before, those who had never thought about a cable line before. We hear things now on social media that we never heard before. Why? Because the vibration of the words that are being spoken is being picked up by the nervous system. The wiring that's in the body is being picked up by that, and it's being carried to the space of decision. It is not carried to simply your mind or simply you. It is at the space of decision, and that is what we call free will. I'm done for now. Melanie will come later. Questions, comments, addendums?
Pastor Richard, I have a question.
Yes.
I don't. It's about processing, because I know when you process, it's kind of hard to explain the question, but understanding when you say processing, it's like a picture that you have that if I'm processing, I'm supposed to. A question might not always necessarily come when you process it, just as long as you might not be able to express it, but you just know that you feel it, and it resonates with you. I can't really, but it's just on the processing part.
Let me speak to that, please.
Okay.
The difficulty in processing is because we try to process as we process academically. The things that we learn in this earth, we try to process it and understand it in a earthly manner. When I'm talking about processing, when we process, we just be still. Night before last, I was saying I want to have the mindset of the Acabelonian priests. And I've said that so many times. And last evening, just prior to me being shown what I'm talking about now, I saw hieroglyphics on a wall. And those hieroglyphics on the wall I could not read with my mind. And I did not know what they meant. I didn't even know when I saw the images that was being shown to me. And even as I wrote, I did not understand what they meant. And so when I talk about me processing, I just sit still and I allow the light of all lights to put in me or to remind me of what needs to be said and how I need to interact with other people. And the determining factor in that, of course, goes back to Madeline. And again, we will talk about that later. So I cannot explain to you that processing. I'm sorry. I can't. I cannot say to you that processing is the same way that you process everything else, because it is not. And when we learn to stop talking about what's hard and talking about what we desire, that makes all the difference in the world. When we talk about what's hard, that means that we, as this physical human, is trying to make something, to bring understanding to something with our minds that is not something that our minds can comprehend. But when we sit and say, nothing is hard, I'm open, and my desire is to see who I am, or my desire is to simply be open and embrace whatever I am shown. It is then that the light begins to process everything that your heart desire, even though you're not aware of that desire. It is like the covert consciousness. Covert consciousness is your subconsciousness. And if your subconsciousness is still processing or is still receiving from the environment around you, then you will have a struggle being conscious of the light that you are. However, if your subconsciousness has been brought to a place where your subconsciousness is in league with your consciousness, now your consciousness is that you become aware of the light that you are, and now your consciousness is making your subconsciousness aware of it, which means that they are becoming one. See, we think that our subconsciousness is just that. Your subconsciousness starts in your consciousness. In other words, you are conscious of what's in your subconscious because it came to you in a conscious state. So whether it is a conscious state of being in a Kupata or being in the Kushite kingdom at the beginning, or whether it is you being in the 6th grade, that subconscious came from you being inputted with something. And the question is, what is it there in your subconscious that you want to make conscious to you? And the subconscious, that which is in your subconscious that you want to make conscious to you, can be those things that we learn in this environment, or those things that we were created to be. And when we talk about the things that we were created to be, we talk about becoming aware of something. How can you become aware of who you were created to be? Because it is in your subconscious. Just like those things that were imparted to us in an academic setting or in our subconscious, we must bring it to our consciousness. And we have been taught in school that things are hard. Those things that we have to spend time working on, they are hard. They are difficult. And we have been told it is hard for a leopard to change his stripes. We can't change our personality. We can't change our attitude. Those things are the things that's in our subconsciousness. Our consciousness must be that we don't have to change anything because we know who we are, and we are who we are. And when we say that, when we understand that, when we embrace that in our consciousness, that is when we begin to become aware of what also is in our subconscious, and that is the essence of who we were created to be. I hope you can see that.
I can. Thank you.
Thank you.
Grand Rising family. Can you hear me, Pastor?
Yes.
I'm feeling and knowing that right now we are in divine rising, divine consciousness. It's like we are that ocean, and all of us are droplets that are that oneness, and I see and feel and know that we all are in this divine conscious state where we're coming out of the watery substance to be able to come into that knowing that, as you say, we're not processing it in the way that we would normally do, but we all are already connected to it. We are that light, as you say, in our pineal gland, where it's not something that we have to, know it all, but we experience it. And so I think that divine presence, that divine consciousness, that divine rising is manifesting right now. And so I just wanted to share those thoughts. I'm done.
Thank you. Thank you. At some point, we're going to talk about the knowing, what it means to know. Know that you are the temple of the Holy Ghost. We're going to talk about that. What does that look like? What does that mean? Questions or comments? Then I want to leave you with this. The reason it says that you are the light of the world is because without you, there is no enlightenment in this earth realm. Without you knowing who you are, you don't know how to be the light in this earth environment. Embracing the reality of who you are shows you how to function in this light environment. The words that were written on the pages called the Bible are words that were put there for religious purposes. But the source grants us an understanding of Akashic consciousness. And we are able to look at those very words that were placed there for religious purposes and see the light that was in them as they were copied from the Holy Scrolls. And when we see that, that is when we are truly the enlightenment for this earth environment. You cannot be the light for this earth environment if you are repeating what you see written on those pages, as opposed to understanding the light that's in what's written on those pages. I leave you with this. So in leaving you with this, I ask you to take the time, either now or later, ponder what's being said. And I know that you are not going to remember everything in your mind, but please understand it is woven inside of you because this is who you are. If you have to listen again, do it. But at some point, sit, be still, and know that you are God. What am I saying to you? Be still, meaning block all of those outside stimuli. Let it flow through without you focusing on it. Be still and know, be intimate with who you are. And then that still small voice will be the voice that guides you every step of this journey. And with that, I say, Ashe.
Shane.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll resume tomorrow, 11 a.m. Thank you.
Have a good evening.
day, everyone.
You everyone.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Bye, everybody.